All right, and here's Mikel on Maria Petri. When this ends, we will be joined by a second Jacob. So hold on just a second, and you'll see that.
Mikel, a bit of sad news this morning. Arsenal lost probably the matriarch of the fan base, Maria. One of the best-known fans probably in Arsenal's history. Any words for the family or those of us that are mourning her passing this morning?
Yeah. Well, first of all, obviously, we are really sorry to hear the news. She was an integral part of our supporters, our community. The way she transmitted the Arsenal values and the feelings of this football club, it was something like I have never seen before. She was everywhere, every single week, and she will be missed big time. Okay, thank you guys.
Welcome back. This is hour 5 of the Gooners Podcast and Gooners versus Cancer Podathon. And remember, it is just the right time to donate. Go to goonersvcancer.com. Donate anything $5 and above. You get entries into a raffle where you can win artwork, signed shirts, signed memorabilia, brand new Arsenal kits, and even a grand prize, which we're drawing tomorrow, for a brand new Arsenal kit signed by ESR, Saka, and Tomiyasu. Welcome to our second Jacob of the night. The more artistic of the two Jacobs, aka Poorly Drawn Arsenal. It's great to have you on the podcast, my friend.
Hello. Hello.
Sorry to keep you waiting for so long.
All good.
We've got a few now. Ryan, have you been following the trajectory of Aston and Jacob's new Arsenal careers, or should I fill you in on what's been going on with them lately?
I have an idea. Of who they both are.
Because Aston is the new spokesman for the club, and Jacob, aka Poorly Drawn Arsenal, is the new artist of the club.
And when we combine our powers, we're actually the best pub quiz team of all time.
That's true. Well, you had all the answers,
and we still didn't win.
We did not. I can confirm that.
Jacob, how has your re-entry into life from the whirlwind week that we had in Baltimore and then in Orlando been?
Okay. I immediately came down with COVID.
Yeah, me too. We all have, I think. Is Aston the only one that didn't get it?
He was lucky.
I definitely didn't get it. I use Voodoo. I don't know if you've tried it. I know a lot of people are using the other V word, vaccines, but I heard Voodoo works just as well. I don't know. Don't flag me for misinformation.
I flag you for misinformation every day, just not for that. So yeah. I mean, how have your I was almost to say have your friends at school thought you were more popular and stuff, but then.
So I can confirm that I'm no longer in school. It's been about 12 years since college, maybe.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at my son and I'm thinking, hey.
But yeah, so I didn't really tell anybody about Poorly Drawn Arsenal very much. So it's kind of like a surprise. This is a thing. Also, I was in Florida doing this thing with the club.
So tell those that are listening kind of what your involvement was and how that came to be. I know we've talked about it on our live show, but this is obviously a different audience.
So I'm Poorly Drawn Arsenal. I have questionable artistic skills and a love for Arsenal, and I combine the two into probably a very sick love of, or I guess it's a public display of affection. I guess is what you could call it. So basically, I just draw cartoons, make little animations and GIFs or GIFs, depending on who you ask, of the club. And I started it probably 6 years ago at this point as just a mental health project for myself, like a daily task, just because I was struggling with anxiety at that time. And I just started doing daily drawings just as a way to manage my anxiety, and it's blown up into this absolutely insane thing where it's the last year, even 2 years have been just absurd with the amount of things that I've done or been lucky enough to be able to do. So yeah, that's a quick rundown of poorly drawn Arsenal.
Yeah,
it's interesting that you say the part about the anxiety because, of course, routines are such a good way of kind of breaking into that space. But now that you've got all the attention, how is that anxiety coming? Because you've got to be like absolutely overwhelmed by the Hollywood celebrity status you've achieved.
Yeah, it was a lot easier when my face wasn't attached to it because I could just be like, even though it's not necessarily true, I could just be like, oh, that's poorly drawn Arsenal. I'm somebody completely different, even though the personalities are exactly the same.
Like a superhero.
I guess the poorly drawn Arsenal and the Walrus is a little bit more, I would like to think a little bit more dumb than me, but maybe not. Yeah, it's been an adjustment to that. Having people come up to me and asking for photos was an absurd experience. That I never thought would be anything in my life.
Is that why you punched my camera when I asked you for a picture with you? I mean,
yeah, I was just like, this is it. This is the last straw. No more.
This is
You went on a rampage. You destroyed Wall Street.
Yeah, I went on a rampage and just decided Wall Street.
About eBay and then punched my phone. But Ryan, have you seen any of Jacob's work? Would you like?
No, I have done. I have. I'm not super active on Twitter, but I've definitely seen that there's one. I think with the one with Arsene Wenger holding up something.
Yeah, I think there's a couple. I think he's holding up one of them. He's holding up a Viking sword. Remember when he went on that trip and then he just had a random Viking sword?
Yeah,
I drew that.
He sure a strange situation, but the sexily lying on the beach and that sort of thing. But the podcast, the animations, I mean, I'm a little partial to this one, but I'm gonna play one right now, and you can see kind of how far this can go in brilliance. So here is a recap of the Baltimore tour stop for Arsenal.
Hello, I'm a walrus. Welcome to the city of Baltimore, the first stop of the American tour for Arsenal. Let's jump right into it and go to the poorly drawn Arsenal tour correspondent, Magic Mike.
Hey everyone, it's Magic Mike from the Gooners Podcast and Gooners vs. Cancer.
Magic Mike, what do you make of the tour so far?
Just wrapped up an amazing 4 days in Baltimore with the Charm City Gooners and the Arsenal being in town. As usual with these events here in the States, the game itself is fun and it's what a lot of people come for, but it's everything else that truly keeps me coming back. Things like the fan events where we get to hobnob with the club employees.
I don't know what hobnob means.
With some former players, even sometimes current players.
Is it a hot doorknob?
But most important, the best part, meeting and hanging out with other Gooners from all over the country and all over the world. You don't get the opportunity very often to take very exclusive video of Gunnersaurus's penis.
Are we allowed to say that on this podcast?
And, when you do that, you answer a ton of very important questions. And you also raise a couple more, not the least of which is, what the hell is wrong with you, Mike? I got that a lot. We also did a live podcast and panel show, which included our mates James McNicholas, Stuart McFarlane, a few more great guests in front of about 150 people packed into a room at the host pub. We raised funds for Gooners vs. Cancer at a couple of the events, which of course always reminds me of how generous the Gooner family is. And if anyone can help me to remember any of the other stuff that I did over these 4 days, I would really appreciate it. Please hook me up. My DMs are open. Slide on in. And the best part, it's not over yet. There's a whole week in Orlando left, 2 more games. More debauchery to occur in the name of the mighty Arsenal and memories to be made and instantly forgotten. So please come see me down in Orlando. Let's raise a glass.
I can't hold a glass. I have flippers.
Let's share a hug. Let's enjoy being part of the Gooner family and watching the Arsenal and send them back to Europe, raring to go for the new season. We're going to win the treble. We're going to win the quadruple. We're going to win the Champions League this year, despite not even being in the competition. So that's where we are. Goodbye from Baltimore. See you soon.
Well, that's all the time I have in Baltimore. On to Orlando.
I love it. I mean, Ryan, I've made it. Have I not made it? Like all of my work and aspirations have finally.
I mean, really,
You know what, Jake? You know what really impresses me, by the way, about the stuff that you do? It's not just that you're able to do this creative, funny, artsy thing, but it's the speed at which you do it. I watched at that pub while you literally did an illustration while we're all drinking and answering questions and doing quizzes. There he is in like 5 minutes, just bangs out just another beautiful picture. It was quite the sight to see, man. How long have you been working at like art and stuff?
I mean, I did some as a kid, but I would say it's really just kind of started since I started doing this, which was, I think I'm coming up on year 7 now. And it's the amount that I can. So like usually before it would take me like an hour and a half to do something, but I guess in 7 years I've gotten a little bit better at it. So now I can do it in about 30 minutes or so. But yeah, that's so about 6 or 7 years.
That's still you managed to get that good that quickly. That's scary. If only we had some players that had that same trajectory, you know?
Yeah. When Mass Gunner asking which one is the walrus, I think that shows a certain level of understanding of what the theme of the satire of it. Ryan, would you ever appear in one of if asked of Jacob's videos?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they look great.
Trying to coordinate something here, but I have to thank you for making me look a little thinner. My face was less pear-shaped, which I appreciate. And is the little singing voice at the beginning, is that your voice?
I swore no one ever picked up on that. It's been there since the beginning.
Listen, I'm gonna stop it after 3 seconds, but listen to the beginning.
Yeah,
that's you, right?
Yeah, that's me.
Oh,
I was kept thinking, I was like, no one said anything about that.
Well, I've said something about it.
No, you were the first person. That is in fact me.
Yes. See, I mean, it's another talent coming out. Jake, other Jake, 18-year-old Jake. How did it make you feel seeing your beloved father illustrated in such a fashion? You got to unmute.
Well, I think it was for the second one in Orlando. I was with you when you made it. I think I didn't hear it, but I was down there.
Oh no! When it came out, yeah, we were together. Actually, I would
right.
Tell Jacob how excited I was, like that it was coming out. Like
I think we might have been
we were at the tiki bar in Sarasota.
Yeah. So we were at a tiki bar in Sarasota, and
getting ready to be rained upon like nothing I've ever seen before.
Yeah, but I mean, he was making comments about, oh, my poorly drawn Arsenals, it's coming out in a few minutes. Like, I cannot wait to watch it. And when I watch it with him, it's so funny. The work you do is very entertaining. And props to you. I hope you keep going on with it, and I'm sure you will. But seeing you on that is definitely funny. And
have you shown it to your friends? Like,
that's
your lads.
I might do that tonight. Actually, now that you remind me, it's. I'm sure they'll be happy.
Yeah, wait until later in the night. They'll think it's even funnier.
Oh yeah. But yeah, props to you. It's entertaining, and I know that many other people like it as well. So,
yeah, thank you very much.
And when do you choose your first 3-time appearance? Because I'm in a very exclusive club now of podcasters or personalities, if you will, that have appeared twice, and I did it back to back.
You did, and you were the only person that's done it back to back.
It's like that they had that whole thing on Saturday Night Live, a big show here over in the U.S. that the 5-time host club, and they get the special jacket and you get to enter the lounge that is forbidden for anyone that hasn't been a host for 5 times, and then it became like, oh well, everybody's been on 5 times now because the show's been on for 50 years. I'm going to be pretty gutted when it's going to be like Elliot or Arsblog that gets it, right? Or is someone just going to zoom up?
They're both at 2 right now. I would like to sit here and say that it's really well planned out and that I have like a long list of exactly who's going to come on, but it is not that planned out.
There's no pipeline throughout the entire season of who you have. Is there any more?
I have something lined up for this Friday, which is ideal. but after that, I don't know who's doing the Leicester match, or I did write down the matches in order, so that's good. I also have no one for Bournemouth yet.
Wow. So is there any future involvement with the club? Since obviously this there was some synergies there with you being American, being on tour, helping out with the with the bit, and we did get a question earlier about the whole Granit Xhaka Matt Turner bit, which I thought was hilarious. But like, is there a future? Have they basically said, "Oh, we'll be in touch," or is there actually something concrete on the books?
I know that they want me to come over to England, but I stupidly let my passport lapse at the beginning of the pandemic.
Oh.
So now I'm stuck in that bureaucracy hell of trying to get that back.
Arsenal can make a work permit for a footballer come through. They should be able to get you.
Give me a passport. Yeah, so I'm stuck at that moment right now. But I know that they want to do something in London, and there's been a couple other projects with some other artists that have kind of popped up that we've talked about, and it hasn't come to anywhere because my passport situation. But
there are so many talented artists and I never realized how many different kinds of art there are. I mean, we've got Ruth Beck's style, we've got Senna Sketch's style, we've got Charlie Shanks's style, we've got Gunner Balls, and that sounds weird, but Gunner Balls and Gunner
Ballsy.
Who am I leaving out? I mean, there's just so many artists.
Matthew Shipley, I have some of his work. I'm going to feel bad leaving people out. There are so many artists. Every once in a
left
few
you out
months,
because you have not sent me free art to auction off. But but what I find is it's a community though of everyone supporting everybody else. It's kind of like the podcasting community in a sense, where you'd think it would be cutthroat and people like fighting over views and time slots and that sort of thing. It's the exact opposite.
Yeah, I think part of it's like it's almost more lonely than podcasting is, because with podcasting you can have like guests and have conversations with people, which is partly why I went into podcasting, because I was like, I want to collaborate with people. When you're doing art, you can't really collaborate with people that don't also do art in some ways.
Yeah.
So this gives me an opportunity to like collaborate with podcasters and things like that. So I think being just an artist sometimes is kind of more lonely in the sense that you don't get that collaboration that you do with other, in the podcasting sense. So I think it kind of inherently makes you want to be more social or want to be more supportive of people, because you're craving, human connection of some kind.
You could have like another artist like on Poorly Drawn Arsenal, but he draws his half and you draw your half, and it's like this beautiful menagerie. I wanted to ask you, because I know Mike's asked me to death about like what my experience was around Arsenal and all of those things. I know you had a very similar experience through this tour as well. Like, so what are some of the behind the scenes things that like different interactions that you had with like players and staff, and anything fun and worth telling?
Well, the most fun thing that happened was I was sitting in the hallway of the hotel waiting for one of the videos to be filmed, and the entire team came back from training, and they walked past me, and Aaron Ramsdale had ABBA on his phone on blast, singing to it at the top of his lungs, and I just will never forget that moment.
Was it Take a Chance on Me, or was it?
No.
Was it what's the other song Mom likes, Jake? Dancing Queen.
It was Mamma Mia.
Oh,
he was singing Mamma Mia at the top of his lungs, and
he looks like a Mamma Mia type of guy.
Yeah.
So let's dip into Arsenal a little bit here from a prediction standpoint. We want to make sure to do that. We've got 30 minutes until the top of the hour when we go into what we're going to be calling Sunday Roast Leftovers, Tuesday edition, or Monday edition for those of you who are in the States. We want to get your feedback and predictions on the top four, bottom three, and a kind of off the wall prediction on football that you think might surprise some people. It doesn't have to be Arsenal related. So we'll start with you, Ryan. Who are you predicting for top 4 finishes this time?
Top 4, I'll go with Man City top. Boring, I know, but it's just how I feel it's going to go again. Liverpool second. I just think they're in a bit of a, how it was with United and Arsenal, and about 20 years ago. I just feel like they're just a bit too far ahead for anyone to really catch this season. So I'm going to go for them too. I'm going to put us third. I think we'll be the surprise package of to people, maybe not to me, but maybe to people a bit further away from it. I don't think they're quite prepared for how good a season we could have. And then fourth, I'm going to go fourth. I'm going to go for Spurs. I think Chelsea could miss out this year. I think they just the scattergun approach they've taken to the transfer market, even though, to be fair, they are getting good. They are being linked to good names, but that doesn't fill me with great confidence. I think Tuchel, someone really earlier, like about 45 minutes ago, said that they think he could go as one of their surprises. He could be one of the first managers to either be sacked or to walk, and I could see that happening.
Yeah.
So that's my top 4.
If he leaves, they're in big trouble.
Well, you feel like he's almost like he's doing what Arsene was doing for a bit with us. It feels like he's making big decisions for transfers, for contracts, for for other things that aren't directly related to coaching. And I think in the modern day, it's very difficult to do that role. He's coming across as a little bit stressed to me.
He's got to be, because he's kind of holding together a transition in management, in ownership, and the loss of their David Dean was a woman, I forget her name now, but and she's left. So I mean, I think he probably really is kind of like that guy with one foot on each of 2 sailboats, trying to keep them from going too far apart. So, Aston, just letting you know that your mic is brushing up against your shirt or your scarf or something when you move around.
That's weird because it's not attached to me.
Well, I don't know. Something's happening. Just don't move an inch for the rest of the time. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So Ryan, that's your top 4. Bottom 3 relegated teams this season.
Bottom 3, I'm going to go for Bournemouth. I'm going to go for Southampton.
Ooh, okay. It's a big call.
Bournemouth, I'm going to go for Southampton. And I am going to go for... Probably at this moment, I'll say for Fulham.
Okay, and kind of hard to predict when the transfer window is
so hard, just because look how much change, even in our team, like last year, how much change. Maybe you've got Ramsdale late on, and Odegaard late on, and Tomiyasu late on, like that. This is like the last week of the transfer market. There's still 4 weeks left now. I think a lot of clubs will be moving on to, maybe their second, third choice players. And actually, I think that's where it's going to benefit us. Because I think some of our players now might actually get sold, because I think they probably weren't, someone like Maitland-Niles, he probably wasn't the first choice pick for a Premier League team. But now, if they haven't been able to get those in, I think, your likes of Villa, maybe Everton might come in for people like that. So, it's hard to say at this stage, but that's what I'll go for.
Yeah, I think that's why we'll see a lot on the outgoings. I think we'll see a lot of movement at the very end for us, which is frustrating because you kind of know that we need those to happen before we can bring in the one or two remaining players that we seem to want to bring back in. Or do you want to think about this, or any kind of a surprising, or is it the Tuchel thing that you're gonna jump onto for your surprising pick?
Yeah, I'll go for surprising pick.
Just any prediction that wouldn't seem to be kind of in the main that could happen.
Okay, I'm gonna go. It's a little bit different because it's away from the Premier League, but
yeah, that's fine.
I think I'll say it because I'm speaking to a lot of Americans here. I think America are gonna do really well at the World Cup. It's my prediction. I think they could make even the semis.
Wow! So U.S. men's national team semifinal potential.
Yeah, I've been doing just a little. Just saw the other day that there's a lot of players now from there in playing in the big leagues, like the top leagues. And yeah, if it could click for them, I've just been looking at it a bit. Have I watched them? No. As someone said, have you actually watched them? No. I'm basing this purely on the players that are just based on the roster. I was surprised when I looked at their squad and I was like, wow, okay, they've got quite a lot of decent players now. So yeah, that would be my surprise.
All right. Well, it sounds incredibly well researched. And look, I'd love for it to happen. I'm still going for an England-US final. Teams that are in the same group can play in the final against each other. So
Aston looks very shocked by
that's what I want. Then it's guaranteed to come home. Jacob, poorly. What are you thinking for your top four?
Okay. Man City.
Okay.
Liverpool. Us, but I don't feel overly confident about third. But I don't want to put anyone ahead of us.
That's true.
And then, even though I think they've had a terrible window and everything that you guys just said is completely true, I'm going to go Chelsea. Mainly because I want to believe that Spurs are going to have the worst season possible. So
I think that's going to happen. I think we're good there. Mine was Liverpool, City, Arsenal, Chelsea, but it's just incredible what a year will do, because last year I have the kind of the list of people and what they predicted, and we had like two people predict Arsenal top four, and the average position was seventh. And so far we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people who have picked, and only one has said fourth. The rest have all said third for Arsenal. It's just that level of optimism. Your bottom three?
Bournemouth, Fulham, Leeds.
Bournemouth, Fulham, Leeds. Excellent. Okay.
I think Leeds lost a lot of really key people. And I think their squad was already really, really small. A few injuries almost put them down last year. And so, I'm going to go Leeds.
Yeah, I have Bournemouth, Leeds, and Everton going down. I just didn't want to say it in front of Super Kev, but like Aston did. But I have them going down. Ryan, we are very thankful for you joining us tonight. I know that you've got to run. It's late there. It's well after midnight. And I just wanted to say it's been a pleasure again. Hope that you'll join us for the penultimate hour tomorrow if you're free after work. But either way, anything else that you'd like to say or get out there to the people watching?
No, just thank you for having me. I've seen as well some people in the comments about my old man. What they said is very nice to hear and read. So thank you. Good luck, Mike, with your evening, and as just what Sophie said before, what you're doing here, raising this money is fantastic cause.
And you don't have to answer. We'll talk offline about this, but my wife and I will be over for the last game in April and the first two games in September, and we're going to be doing another Gooners versus Cancer kind of live event show with incredible audio production values this time, not like the ones we did in Orlando and Baltimore. This one will actually be professionally produced by a gentleman who you'll see later on in this podcast. But we're doing that on Friday, September 2nd in the evening. So if there's any way that you are going to be around, we would love for you and or any of your family to come and join us for that. So and we'll talk more about that. So thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of the podcast.
Thank you. All right. So then there were 4. We're going to do another drawing in about 20 minutes, and then it evolves into just Danny and myself, which should scare anybody. We appreciate everyone who's staying up from the UK. I know we've got Daniel is here. Who else do we have from the UK? We've got Arnie from Iceland. Henvik, who has gone to sleep, but he has generously donated, and probably will win the next prize, considering he just went to sleep. So we're going to get predictions now from you, Aston. Top 4. I mean, it's Arsenal number 1, right?
Arsenal all the way, baby. I'm actually going for Liverpool because I actually think that, interestingly enough, the 2 leagues that best translate into Premier League are the Bundesliga and the Portuguese league. So Holland coming from Germany and Darwin Núñez coming from Portugal should bed them right in. But I think that Holland's injury record with the physicality of the league might come in conflict. He'll have the best goals per minute ratio, but he won't maybe score the most goals. And I think Núñez will be fit for the whole season. And that's why I give it to Liverpool, City. Then I give it to us. I think that my other bold statement is I think we'll be much closer to 2nd than 5th, depending on how the rest of this transfer window goes. As it stands right now, probably, just making 3rd, really close to 4th. But if we get the next transfer that we all hope that we're getting, I think we'll be actually a lot closer to 2nd than we think. And then it's going to be Spurs. Unfortunately, I think Tuchel might be one of the first guys to go if things don't go right. My actual sack race prediction, though, is going to be Newcastle's coach. I think Mourinho's coming back.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. Okay. So Liverpool, City, Arsenal, Spurs, that's your top 4?
Yep.
Your bottom 3?
My bottom 3 are going to be Leeds, Bournemouth, and Everton.
Okay, same with mine. And so in fact, no, your top 4 is not the same as mine. I have Chelsea in 4th. And is your surprise pick, which I never did get one from Sophie, but is your surprise pick that Ronaldo storms off the pitch this season? I wrote that down earlier.
Really, listen, I said it, so I'll make my bed and lie in it. But I really think that my surprise pick is going to be that I think Newcastle's going to get Jose Mourinho as their coach by the end of the year.
I'll give you that. Hires Jose. Yeah, that could certainly happen. All right. And Jacob, my son, my lovely, dear son, who I'm going to miss beyond belief. Your top 4. Top 4 dads ranked in order.
Not very unique, but I think here's my thing. I do think that Holland could have some type of injury problem throughout the season, but I think their squad depth is so crazy that I honestly think that the rest of their team will still carry them to finish first.
If he gets hurt, this is a dumb question, but who gets 20, 25 goals a season for them?
I don't know about 20 to 25 goals, but I mean it's
who fills in like when Aubameyang stopped scoring for us and stopped playing for us, all of a sudden goals started coming from the wide players, from ESR, from Saka, from what happens? I mean, I'm not saying they can't do it. I'm just saying who are the people?
I mean, to be fair, it's their whole squad that they did last year. We got Grealish still to step up, right? You still have Mahrez on the team. You still have who's that young guy? Who's the young guy that they just got? Do you know, Jake?
Alvarez.
Yeah, that kid. Yeah.
And we've seen
had Odin play a false 9. It's pretty much the exact same team. They just added a pretty good player.
True. I mean, I wasn't
we've seen that
implying that they
Gooner
were not going to be able to
step
get goals
up
from
and
any
step
area.
No, we hear you. They're crap. You hate them. You think they're going down.
Yeah, they're in my bottom three for sure.
So I think they'll finish first again, and Liverpool second. I do think we'll finish third. And with what everyone's been saying about Chelsea, I think it's very it could go either way. I don't think Chelsea will finish fourth. I think they'll finish.
It is going to go either way. They're either going to finish fourth or they're not.
Right, but I could see it go either way. If they finish off the transfer window well, I wouldn't be that surprised to see them finish fourth. But I do think that's, unfortunately, Spurs have had a pretty solid transfer window other than signing Richarlison. I didn't really understand that as well as some of the others, but I think Spurs will finish fourth. But St. Totteringham's Day is returning this year.
Ah, nice. It's about time, by the way.
My guy.
Way too long.
Your bottom three.
I've got the same. Actually, not the same. I've got Bournemouth, Fulham, and Leeds. That's my bottom three because I think, like Jacob said, I think Leeds losing Rafinha and Calvin Phillips is just too much for them, especially with the troubles they had last season. They were seeming as though they might go down last season, and then they've lost probably their best two players. So I just don't see them staying up for another year, but maybe they'll surprise me. I don't know.
Yeah, they've got Patrick Bamford though.
Yep.
All right,
and they just signed an American, like a up and coming American, right? Aronson.
Tyler Adams and Aronson.
I'd like to see him do well, but I don't know if it'll. Obviously, because he's American, but I don't think it'll be enough for them to stay up.
You know what's interesting is nobody's even mentioned Forest. Nobody.
Well, it's funny. It's funny because
you want to hear my outlandish prediction?
No one has relegated Forest. Everyone has relegated Bournemouth, and sometimes those things just flip. Halfway through the season, you look up and Bournemouth is somehow in 11th place and safe from relegation. But Forest I don't know. Forest just belongs in the top flight. And for anyone under the age of 35 or 40, you might not agree with that because you haven't lived that. But Forest is they're one of the top football clubs in England and in Europe at one point, and I believe won the European Cup
maybe 3 times,
maybe twice or 3 times. Yeah, they've got stars on their shirt that Arsenal doesn't, that a lot of clubs don't. But that doesn't mean that the current squad, and everyone thinks that they sold Spence to Tottenham, but it wasn't their player to begin with to sell. It was Middlesbrough. So it's interesting that no one's picked Forest.
Yeah, they're much bigger than Tottenham for sure.
They are. I mean, who isn't?
That's actually my outlandish prediction. I think that they'll have the type of season that Brentford had last year, because I feel like they've signed Lingard, they've signed Niakate, I believe, from Frankfurt, or I don't know if it was Frankfurt or Mainz, but one of those two teams, they've signed him. And I don't know. I feel like they play the kind of attractive brand of football that people talked about Brentford last year. So I wouldn't be surprised. My prediction is that I wouldn't be surprised if they finish 10th, 11th, 12th this season.
Oh.
Yeah. So Forest mid-table as opposed to barely escaping or being relegated.
Right.
Love it. And you hit your stride when you start talking about signings and players, because there's no one that studies those FIFA the rankings and the transfer lists and stuff more than this guy right here. So I love it.
Wait, quick fire question for everybody. All right, we're going to play Forest over under. Will this team finish above or below Forest? Ready? West Ham.
Above.
Okay.
But maybe not by much though. I think it could be close.
Brentford.
Above. No, Forest will finish
below.
Above.
Below. I think Brentford's going to have second season syndrome.
Okay, Everton.
Below. Everton below them.
Below.
Here's a spicy one. Leicester.
Below.
Ooh, really? We're just throwing them out, huh?
I'll say the same thing with Aston Villa because I know that's next.
Yeah, Aston Villa.
Below, because Jake has just said that they're going to be mid-table, and I obviously one of those teams has to finish 9th, I guess. But Villa, West Ham, I think, has the chops to remain good, but Villa, Everton, Leeds, Brentford, I think they're all
Leicester.
kind of sagging. Leicester, I think those are teams that are like,
So who's the
to their
7th
normal
spot? Are you
state.
guys trying to give Forest the 7th spot?
No, West Ham.
Or West Ham. Yeah. We
West
did say
Ham
West Ham.
United. Yeah, West Ham United. But that really ends up with 7. That's the
Newcastle in there
7.
somewhere.
That's the
Yeah.
7. So.
Yeah, that's the other two. Newcastle and Palace are my last two. So Newcastle.
Oh, that's true.
Newcastle above them, I think.
Newcastle's going to have a slow rise, but they'll finish above Forest this season. They'll be ninth. Newcastle.
Yeah, I honestly think we're not giving them enough credit. They might be 7th. Bruno Guimaraes was easily like one of the best players in the league last year, in the short period he spent. But what about Palace? Palace is an interesting one too, right?
They just seem like nailed on for 10th place, and that's not bad for Palace. That'll get the job done, I think. Right, Jacob? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I like what Vieira's done with that team. I think that they've kind of completely flipped recently in direction as far as like they went from this old team that looked like they were going down to within a season they're young and exciting again. So yeah, I could see them in the top half. I could see them 10th.
Beautiful.
I could see them in the top half, but I could
Do
see
you
them.
think they're going to finish above Forest?
Yeah, I don't have Forest as high as everybody else. I kind of have Forest like 5th.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're all operating under this Jacob Feinberg prediction that Forest is going to finish 10th. I mean, some people might go into this thinking Forest is going to barely escape relegation and be 17th. They are one of the 3 just recently promoted teams, and it doesn't always. So this could have been the easier answer to this would have been they're all going to finish above Forest. If I had a gun to my head, I would probably, which only happens in this country, I would have probably said everyone would finish above them because, the likelihood of them coming out and finishing 10th or 11th isn't that good.
Did I get a bold prediction in?
Oh,
Yeah,
did I not ask you
get it
for a
in.
bold prediction? I did not. So
All right, here we go. I don't know who, but one manager is going to celebrate a goal by taking off their shirt.
and now, have you already illustrated it and you're just waiting to put the head on?
I have a feeling it's going to be Jesse Marsh, but I just have a feeling that one manager is just going to go. Who's that one guy at Sunderland? Paulo
Di Canio. Jake, you remember me talking about Paulo Di Canio?
You loved Paulo Di Canio.
Oh, I love because first of all,
slide.
he had like a
Knee slides in his
16-inch waist. He had like a 16. His like a normal person, I guess. Well, I'm going to reveal myself, but normal person would have like a 32 waist and a 30 length like leg. He had like a 16 waist and a 40 leg. Like it would, and he wasn't tall either. He was just all leg. And seeing him do knee slides in a suit after those goals during the Tyneside derby was unbelievable.
I feel like we're going to have a celebration from a manager approaching that level. Starting to take off some clothes. I feel like it's
watch
bound
either.
to happen.
My body is ready, and every bit of me hopes it's Jurgen Klopp. Jesus Christ.
This is amazing because we've got Simon Collins saying people will like the Winter World Cup. We have Lee Dixon with a very rational Brentford top 8. We've got Aston saying Newcastle hires Jose, and then we have a Premier League manager will celebrate by taking off his shirt. This, Jacob, is why I love you, because that comes from a very special kind of mind, and it's the kind that I like.
Has everybody already mentioned who they think is going to get sacked first?
I didn't add that into the list, but you certainly are welcome to. I mean, I would assume that you're thinking it would be Eddie Howe.
I actually think it's Lampard, but what about you, Shake and Jake?
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say Lampard.
They're just going to keep digging if that's what happens. Because who comes in other than Kevin Campbell if Lampard leaves?
Kevin Campbell to save the club.
Oh, he could do it
again.
Super Kev. I have a question for you guys actually. So I saw this in the chat earlier, but I don't think anyone talked about it. Someone had said Mitrovic won't be able to show himself in the Prem, and I want to know your guys' opinion on that.
Well, Jacob, will he show himself by taking off his clothes? I mean, when you score 40-something goals in a league season, you're gonna, and then you go up a level, you're probably gonna come down from your heights. But I mean, let's make this quick because we have a prize drawing to do in the next few minutes,
right.
And we're gonna head out. So
I agree with that because he scored. I'm pulling up his stats now. He scored 26 in the championship in the 1920, and then 2021 he only scored 4. So
he's gone. He's yo-yo.
Yeah, he's done the yo-yo with them, and he consistently scores a lot in the championship, very little in the Premier League. So I feel like he's not going to show up again either.
Yeah, I have to triple that.
Have it open. How many did he score last season? I mean, like it was an insane amount.
43 and 40, 46 matches, or sorry, 44 matches, 43 goals.
That is ridiculous. I'll never forgive him for out jumping. I'll never forgive Per Mertesacker for being out jumped by Mitrovic, who was like 9 feet shorter than he is, for an equalizer against Anderlecht in the Champions League all those years ago. But
anyway, kind of weird if it's not him though. They don't really have anybody.
Yeah, I mean, they gave away.
That's why they're in my relegation prediction because I just
they sold the guy to City or to Liverpool, right?
And I don't think Bird Leno is going to be able to save them from relegation this year.
No pun intended. Save. All right, so we're gonna do a quick prize draw. We're in a, because we're entering the middle of the night territory in the UK. We're going to be doing some of the marquee prize drawings are going to be saved for the end, but we've continued to get donations. Mackenzie Dolnick, Christian Laufer from Chicago, thank you so much for donating. And remember, the earlier you get the donation in for during this event, the more of a chance that you will have to win more prizes more often. But the next one is for a Ruth Beck art print, and we're going to make it this one of the Emirates Stadium. It's a beautiful look at the Emirates Stadium with the players loving each other right there. Let me just update this real quick. And Emirates Stadium, and here we go for the draw. And when this draw is over, we enter our number 6 out of 27. I can't believe how much time we still have to go. But I'm feeling strong.
How's that diaper going?
Yeah, it's pretty full and saggy, but
I'll make sure.
Is that toilet paper behind you? I've been wondering this whole time. On your right shoulder must be.
I think it's a printer tray.
Okay, that makes more sense.
We were on the same
like
wavelength.
toilet paper.
No,
okay, it's not toilet paper, but it could be toilet paper.
Well, I mean, in a pinch, do what you have to do. In the wild, you do what you have to do. All right, so here we go. We have the drawing. We are now going to do it. I'm an incredible commentator of events. The winner,
and our next winner is,
hold it, Henrik Frieder, who went to bed just a little too early. Henrik has generously donated. He has won a Ruth Beck art print. He remains eligible for one of the level 2 prizes, which are the shirts, and of course, everybody who wins a prize, even if you win one of the prints, one of the jerseys, everyone will be eligible for the grand prize. So Henrik Frieder, I wonder if he has a Twitter account. Is it Frieder the Twitter? Henrik Frieder, congratulations and thank you for your donation. And boys, it's been fun. That's about it. We're going to have a complete changeover here. I'm going to replace the 3 of you with someone who weighs the same amount as the 3 of you combined.
Mike, you got a clone?
I do. I have a clone, and he's on his way in. But Aston, I love you, my friend. We have a second stretch where you're going to be joining us as well in the morning. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So
thank you, everybody. I want to say again, Mike, you're absolutely class. A fantastic example of what the Gooner community means for the first time in a very long time. And it becomes really obvious how large we are because we have so many different sides that always seem to be opposed to each other. But right now, you and Soph and all the other podcasters are really playing your part with the club working the way it is to really kind of bring this sense of unity and togetherness. And I cannot say enough good words. I am so very proud to be a Gooner. I'm so very appreciative of all the opportunities you've given me. So thank you all. If you guys don't know the Genesis story, I would not be where I am without Mike. Thank you so much, man.
Well, Aston, I love you, my friend, and you, like I told people in Orlando, you are right, my ride and die, not ride or die, ride and die.
Yeah, because of how he drives.
Yeah, exactly. But I love you, my friend. Take care. See you in the morning. And speaking of people who I love, I think Jacob's getting a little bit nervous right now. But no, my son Jake, your friends are coming over anytime now, and I hope you have an enjoyable evening. We'll see you in the chat, and I love talking football with you. And you know, for years you've always held your own in these conversations. So it's been my joy to have you on the podcast with me. And of course, you're welcome anytime, except for when we talk about like porn and stuff.
Thank you very much, and have a good. Is it this version of the Sunday roast? That's what's happening next?
Yeah, it's the Sunday roast leftovers coming up in the next hour.
Are you gonna play the intro?
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah. You can stay back. You can stay backstage for the intro if you want, but yeah, the intro is almost a little poorly drawn, like as far as the song is concerned. So you know, it's that same level of homemade. I mean, your stuff is good. My stuff is so bad that it's good.
It's so bad that it's funny.
Yeah, but like you know, you can almost it's artistic cousining. Like there's some relation between the two. You know. So, but you are my son. I love you. Brush your hair, and come give me a hug later. All right, bud.
Night, everyone.
And Jacob, we're gonna God, the stupid with Andy at the bottom. We're gonna play you out. We're gonna play you out with the with the second leg of the summer tour and the Orlando poorly drawn Arsenal podcast that we did. But thank you so much for joining us. Love chatting with you, my friend. It was a pleasure.
Chatting with you. I'm gonna echo what everybody else is saying, and just saying that you're doing a really good thing, and that everybody that's in the chat, please donate. I don't really know how it works, but you can donate at a website, and then you can get prizes. That's cool. And it's all going to a good cause. So, as best as I could understand, that is what is how prizes work. But I do understand ways to beat cancer. That I got, and that is important.
Promotion. No, it's great. It's great. The website is goonersvcancer.com. It's scrolling along the bottom of the screen. The amount raised so far in this podcast is now just under. Let me do my maths. It's just under $1,800 for the podcast, leading up to and including the hours that we've been on the air, which is great. But we've raised overall, we raised over $5,000 in Orlando and Baltimore combined. We raised over $12,500 for the 89 shirt that we raffled off. It's a good time to be donating to Gooners v Cancer, and we have a few more donations that have recently come in. And I'm just loving seeing it. There is generally a lull as we get into kind of late night US, middle of the night UK. But if you have
3 a.m. is almost impossible. Like 3 a.m. East Coast time.
Well, but we'll be doing it. So Jacob, appreciate it, and we will play you out with this.
Hello, I'm a walrus. Welcome to the city of Orlando, or more commonly known as. Due to my extensive high-quality research on the city beautiful. or the final stop on the American tour for Arsenal. For this we welcome back the poorly drawn Arsenal tour correspondent Magic Mike.
Hey, this is Magic Mike from the Gooners Podcast. Just finished up an incredible week in Orlando. What a dream.
It wasn't a dream. I was there with you, Magic.
What a week this has been for the team, for the supporters, for everybody involved. I mean, it started at the kit launch on Monday, played some Arsenal trivia, drank some Arsenal beers, met some Arsenal legends and current players, and even got to finally meet up with a guy named Jacob who was drawing pictures
That's me.
of certain weird regions of Gunnersaurus, I have to say.
Never mind, I have no idea who he is talking about. I've never met this man in my life before.
Then, of course, 2 more wins on the pitch, on Wednesday against Orlando City, and on Saturday against this pathetic little club from West London called Chelsea.
Ha 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 ha.
So, in a week like this, a guy like me has a lot of different hats to wear. My head by the end of the week was like, please, what's going on? Stop changing hats. I feel like you're accidentally going to put a yarmulke on if you keep doing this. But anyway, I start with the charity hat, which I wore a handful of times when we did fundraising for Gooners versus Cancer at a few of the live events throughout the week. Of course, you can learn more at goonersvcancer.com.
Wait, if I do this right. When I point here, people can click on a link to visit the website.
We were able to raise over $3,000 in Orlando and over $5,000 on the summer tour as a whole for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. So thank you to Gooners for that. Also wore the media hat, which is really a truly enjoyable hat to wear. I was very lucky to be able to sit in on team press conferences, interview guys like Mikel Arteta, Martin Odegaard, and Eddie Nketiah, and did a ton of interviews with drunken Gooners before, during, and after the games, which is always fun. Wore the podcasting hat on Wednesday when we did a live podcast show from the fan event in Orlando with guests like Gunner Blog, Kaya Kainak, Lee Judges, Aston Mack, and that same Jacob guy who was still drawing different parts of Gunnersaurus' anatomy.
I don't know what you are talking about.
And most of all, I wore the fan hat and just got to enjoy watching my club play a bit closer to home, revel in our utter dominance of Chelsea, partake in a beer or two every hour, and start dreaming of winning the sextuple this year, which doesn't mean what you think it means. It actually means apparently winning 6 trophies. I obviously thought it was something much hotter, but
6 trophies is hot.
So yeah, things are good in Arsenal land. Orlando's a smashing success. Now it's up to the boys, the lads, the Gunners to get the season started off right. I'm going to go with Arsenal 6, Palace 0. I mean, that's not too much to ask, is it?
Anything less would be a disappointment. Well, that's all the time we have. Thanks for coming on and let's get this season started.